that some of the candidates may be familiar with. The ones that love dancing, probably. All in so far, it's better than Top Gun. Buckle up, it's going to be a bumpy ride.
On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC.
Leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC.
From Global's newsroom at 10 o'clock. In the past half hour, Sajid Javid and Jeremy Hunt have both joined the Conservative leadership race. The two former health secretaries have separately told the Sunday Telegraph that they would scrap the planned corporation tax rise. Speaking to LBC earlier, the Telegraph's chief political correspondent, Camilla Turner, said Mr Javid has a good chance of winning.
He is one of the few candidates that actually has a lot of experience. He's done multiple cabinet positions, so he can really talk to his cross-government experience. And of course, also she was the first cabinet minister to resign this week, which really triggered the whole avalanche of ministerial resignations and ultimately forcing Boris Johnson out of office.
Jeremy Hunt lost out to Boris Johnson in the leadership contest 3 years ago. Earlier, two cabinet ministers also announced they'd be running: Transport Secretary Grant Shapps and the newly appointed Chancellor Nadhim Zahawi. Sri Lanka's President and Prime Minister have both agreed to resign after protesters stormed their homes. Pressure on both men had grown after an economic crisis led to severe shortages of essential items like food and fuel. Charu Latahog is chair of the Sri Lanka Campaign for Peace and Justice. She says there's a mistrust of those in power.
It is really an assertion by the Sri Lankan people to take away power from those who they do not consider accountable, who they do not trust anymore, and that has been the sentiment behind these protests.
Two men have been arrested on suspicion of the murder of a man found dead in Greater Manchester last weekend. Police say Thomas Campbell, who was 38, was the victim of an horrific attack at a home in Mosley. A serving Metropolitan Police Special Constable has been remanded in custody over a rape charge. Paul Hoyle, who's 40, was arrested on Wednesday over an alleged attack in Shropshire on Tuesday. The officer has appeared before magistrates and is due back in court next month. Wimbledon has a new women's champion. Elina Rybakina is the first player from Kazakhstan to win the tournament. She came from a set down to beat Tunisia's Ons Jabeur 2-1 in the singles final. LBC weather, a warm evening for much of England and Wales. Cloudier across Northern Ireland and Scotland with some rain, an overnight low of 10 Celsius. Tomorrow, rain in the far north clearing, then mostly dry, sunny and very warm elsewhere, a high of 29 degrees. From Global's newsroom for LBC, I'm Simon Conway.
This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
Hello.
You know, some whack job can say this stuff and get away with it.
0345 6060 973. I'll do the texts and the tweets and the emails from last night, and then we'll start wiping up the ones from tonight. Let me see. Oh, look at that. Only about 3 pages. Excellent. That's very unusual. Already I'm ahead. Doing very, very well. Rebecca says, I've been suffering really badly with COVID this week. Oh, really?
Stop whining.
Not only has Boris finally bleeped off, but the Durham police have seen sense and not fined Starmer. It's like a final 2 fingers up at Boris. Well, speaking of which, Tory MP and newly appointed Junior Education Minister Andrea Jenkins stuck her middle finger up as she entered Downing Street on Thursday afternoon.
Disgusting.
This is how, under a Johnson administration, things work. You stick your middle finger up at the British public 1 minute and your Education Minister the next. Everything's going according to plan, eh, Bodge? After lashing out at the Bye Bye Boris protesters, about which more later, Tory MP and newly appointed Junior Education Minister Andrea Jenkins admitted that she should have shown more composure. Yeah, that's one way of putting it, yeah. She said she was standing up for herself in the manner to which we have come to expect of this administration. Even some Tories hit out at the minister after she was filmed making the rude gesture while entering Downing Street. Commons leader Mark Spencer, a former chief whip, said that he does not believe the gesture was the right thing to do at all. And if this regime are about anything, it's about doing the right thing. This is great. I'm loving everything about this coming up, this week coming up, in which, by the way, I'll be filling in from 10 to 1 every night. What an excellent week to do some fill-in shows, eh? After leaving Downing Street, Andrea Jenkins again confronted protesters shouting... I know this is old news now, but I didn't talk about this yesterday, so I'm going to, because that first text was all about giving the finger, so why not? Just reminded me. She said, I don't know, she seemed to be refreshed. I don't know. She was emotional. After leaving Downing Street, Andrea Jenkins then confronted protesters again, shouting, "He who laughs last laughs the loudest. Wait and see," which did not make her look unhinged at all. Why would anybody say that? Happily, her taunt was largely drowned out by a sea of boos and the Benny Hill theme, which had been ringing out from the speaker of the anti-Brexit protesters, Steve Bray, for most of the day. And we all owe a debt of gratitude to Steve Bray, by the way, for it's his music that will forever be the backing track of the various ministers who spoke on TV to try to distance themselves from their previous unswerving defence of the indefensible Bodge. They'll always have Bye Bye Boris and the Benny Hill theme tune as their theme song. It's the perfect accompaniment to those that have lost all dignity as they tried to reclaim it. It's as though Steve Bray said, "Oh, no, you don't. You're not getting away with that." I'm amazed the police let him do it, aren't you? Maybe that was the police giving Bodge payback for allowing the force to be defunded over the past 12 years of Conservative rule. And you could see Bodger as he made that "I'm not resigning" speech. It put him right off his stroke, because he will have had his, all of his papers in order. Somebody else would have written it for him, no doubt. Paid for by one of his donors. And he came out, and that was the one thing that he hadn't prepared for. The Bay City Rollers. And as the music swelled, you could see in his eyes, he thought, oh no, this is going to be behind my big speech forever. I'm going to look a clown, he thought. Yeah. Priceless. Appreciate it, Steve Bray.
Thank you.
And apparently we have somebody else to thank for that as well. I'll get into that in a minute. It just put him right off his stroke. He was adding it all up. You could see it in his eyes, that his big speech of, "It's not my fault, you're all to blame." It will always have that music in the background. And he died a little inside, right there in front of us, as he realised what was happening. It was a beautiful moment. Only in Britain, eh? Brian texts, Nadine Dorries for PM. She thinks we should privatise Netflix. I think specifically she said that Channel 4 should be more like Netflix. Yeah, hemorrhaging viewers and up to its eyeballs in debt. I think that's what she meant. Rob says, the Tories have destroyed the economy, but Britain has a tradition of drinking warm beer. But when I saw Starmer drinking cold beer, I thought, right, that's it. Never voting Labour again. Booze. That's just a reasonable thought there, Rob. Mike says, Nick, I reckon the Tory party should invite Corbyn to join the Tories. They do say the party needs a sort of root and branch, belt and braces reboot. Corbyn's policies aren't that far from the Tories. Giving money away, etc. Giving money away. Oh, Mike. 0345 6060 973. I still have to get through some more of these. And now, of course, I have to wipe up the ones that have just come in. When will I ever get to the end of it? It's like painting the Forth Bridge. Hull, Charles.
Oh, hi, Nick.
Charles.
Good to be on your show again. We've all been boogieing on down in the park outside our local library because the sun machine came down and we were going to have a party.
A party?
We did.
Mm-hmm. The sun machine is coming down, and we're gonna have a party.
What I really wanted to talk about was the runners and riders for the leadership of the election, the Conservative Party.
Yeah.
And, well, I'm afraid the Saj man, intellectually, he gets 10 out of 10, but bald men just
10 out of
don't
10.
feel.
That doesn't seem a likely score for Super Saj. 10 out of 10 for brains.
And then we've got Fishy
You mean to
Wishy.
tell me that he's unimprovable?
Frankly,
10 out of 10? We could just talk over each other for the next 3 hours if you like. This is a listener with material.
Not enough pounds.
Yeah, okay, all right. Thanks a lot, Charles. No listeners with material. You can tell me what you think, but don't read off a script. That's my job. 0345 6060 973. Rachel says, just watch the Ready for Rishi video. Then there's an emoticon. Do they call them emoticons anymore, or is it emojis? Because it used to be emoticon. Oh, what's an emoticon, Grandad? Get with the times. Just watch the Ready for Rishi video, says Rachel, and then there's an emoji of a shocked face. Good job Rishi's family came to the UK back in the day. Otherwise, they would have been sent back into Rwanda and missed out on all those wonderful opportunities, says Rachel. We need a general election. Tories out, a lot of them. Well, you may think that, Rachel. I couldn't possibly comment. Yeah, the fishy video. Oh, my God. I saw that today. I didn't see it the other day. I saw stills from it, but there was just so much to get through yesterday. It was like a mountain of delicious news that I put off watching Fish's video, and then I watched it today.
Dreadful.
Wow. I mean, really? You released that? You did that video, and then you watched it back and you thought, yep, nailed it. We are in big trouble in this country because he is the leader.
Oh, no.
He's the leader in the race so far. Fishy Sunak declared his bid to replace Bodger with a slick video campaign, so says the Mail. Slick. Well, that's one word for it. Mr. Sunak promised in his campaign video to restore trust, rebuild the economy and reunite the country. And then he ate a hearty dinner of Farley's rusks and was put to bed by Mummy. I mean, seriously, we can't have our country run by a man who looks and sounds like he's wearing his school shorts. Fishy also unveiled the website as part of the very polished campaign launch, according to the Mail, with the slogan Ready for Rishi, which in and of itself should exclude him from the top job. Ready for Rishi. I mean, what's he running for? School president? What have we done to deserve this? I mean, I don't recall what it was, but it must have been pretty bad. Get Priti Patel on the phone. She's probably wants to deal out some justice. I mean, really, ready for Rishi? Critics accused him of having worked on the video long before he resigned as Chancellor. Well, if he spent more than about 10 minutes on it, he should be embarrassed. I mean, it looks like quite a few of them have been at it, you know, getting their campaign ready to take over from that catastrophic clown show, while being serial defenders of the thing they are angling to replace. And they want us to trust them.
No, 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 no.
Yeah, it's a no from me. Fishy's campaign team denied he had been working on his campaign for months, despite records showing that a campaign website, readyforrishi.com, was registered in December last year. Last December. And approximately how many times has Fishy defended Bodger since then?
And one.
More.
Two.
More than that.
6 million.
6 million is the right answer. 6 million times he's come out and told us that he respects and reveres his imperial bodgeness. He got all the big calls right. This URL that they registered last December now redirects to his current site, Ready for Rishi, as in the number 4, not FOR. because if you put the number 4 in, that means you're down with the kids. Wow. Whatever you're paying them, Rishi, they're not worth it. Fire all of them. Get a new team in. I am serious. Among the most vomitous lines in a packed list were the ones about how his family came here from abroad and found success, while his government would have sent a lot of them to Rwanda and we would never have heard of them again. And then there was the one about him caring more about us than himself. That was properly funny, that one. Good one, Fish. Oh. And apart from anything else, there was this general uneasiness about the bloke. All that darting-eyed nervousness, like he's been taken to the vets to get fixed. And there was that line about, do we tell ourselves comforting fairy tales that might make us feel better in the moment, but will leave our children worse off tomorrow? What, like Brexit being good for us, you mean? Fairy tales like that, about how our nation would be freer and fairer and more prosperous outside the EU, which is a line that Fishy actually wrote. Is it that fairy tale you're talking about? Or is it the one about how your businesses will thrive in exciting markets outside the EU? Because he wrote that too. When the government's own figures state that our Brexit losses are more than 178 times bigger than any trade deal gains. Or is it the fairy tale about how small businesses would benefit from removing red tape outside of the EU? Because he wrote that too. When the extra red tape that Brexit has caused means small businesses are struggling or just giving up on trading with our biggest and nearest market entirely. Is it that fairy tale you're talking about? Or is it the one about us saving £20 billion straight away if we left the EU? Because he wrote that as well. Whereas, in fact, it cost us £31 billion straight away. I mean, which of these fairy tales are you talking about, Fishy? Because you wrote all of them in your election manifesto when you vied to be MP for Richmond. Meanwhile, Fishy reportedly urged Super Saj Javid to step aside from his own expected leadership bid and back Fish's campaign. How did that go, by the way?
Dreadful.
Yes. Yeah. Super Saj is actually running for the top job, apparently. And it just goes on. It blows my tiny mind what's happening at the moment, but as you can tell, I'm very, very upset about it. 0345 6060 973. I mean, it couldn't happen to a nicer bunch of people, eh? Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. I'm just looking at something that's just come in. We should do that. OK, all night long, slogans for the individual candidates. I mean, we've already got Ready for Rishi. How about the rest of them? Over to you, kids. 0345 6060 973. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbot, LBC.
This is LBC.
Hello, Britain. Albert Einstein here. Smart meters are helping people all over the country manage their household budgets. They show how much energy you're using and what it's costing you daily, weekly, and monthly. So, for example, my neighbor Josh might learn he takes too long in the shower, which could even help him reduce how much energy he's using.
For extra help managing your household budgets, search Get a Smart Meter today. Consumer action required. Energy systems and eligibility may vary.
Hey, Harry.
Hello, mate.
I'm off to Vegas. Got any tips?
Here's one. Save yourself the jet lag and head over to Bet Victor and play on the slots instead. You get all the fun of the casino without the faff of the tuxedo. But listen, if you want to win big, like really clean up, your best bet is to... Clean up? Oh, bloomin' heck, I was supposed to clean up. Sorry, pal. Gotta go. The boss is back in 10 minutes and she'll have my guts for garters.
Harry, listen to Harry and make your best bet at Bet Victor Casino. 18 plus, please gamble responsibly.
At Barclays, we know everyone feels differently about risk. Some people are cautious and others a tad more adventurous. So, whether you're the kind of person who microwaves mackerel or the kind who microwaves mackerel in the office kitchen...
Oh, what is that smell?
Search Barclays Ready-Made Investments to see if we've got an investment match for you. Barclays. Make money work for you. Investing is not for everyone. With investing, your capital is at risk and the value can fall as well as rise.
If you or someone you know owned or leased a diesel vehicle between 2009 and 2020, you could be entitled to significant compensation. At My Diesel Claim, we're experts in handling these claims, and more than 600,000 people have already started their claim with us. Simply visit our site now to check your vehicle's eligibility instantly. It's free to sign up, and you can start your claim in seconds. Visit mydieselclaim.com and join thousands of others starting their claims today.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Okie dokie.
0345 6060 973. So on that subject that I was just mentioning, slogans for candidates, Richard texts, in addition for Ready for Rishi, there is also Bursting for Baker, Rabid for Rabid for Javid, and Lust for Truss. Abbot, Trust the Brains Truss. Over to you. 0345 6060 973. That's a texter. You can text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk, and if you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Try to keep them a little bit clean. It's not television, it's radio. Haringey. Hello, Ben.
Hello, Nick.
Ben.
Yes, I overheard one of the candidates saying that when Boris goes, we'll have the real Conservative in power.
Right.
Well, the real Conservatives have had visited upon us all the privatisations, which have been a total disaster. The railway companies, 70% of them are run by France and Germany, and we're actually contributing to their economy, and all that billions of pounds are floating out of the country all the time.
That's right.
And they privatise children's homes, which is the worst thing you can actually do because of a defenceless child.
They snatched the food right out of their hands, metaphorically speaking.
Yes. Yeah. Well, they did. And the Abu Dhabi Sovereign Wealth Fund has just invested in our children's homes here because it's so lucrative. They're making 14% profit, which is high profit for any large organisation.
Wow, I did not know that.
Well, they have. I mean, I was just reading it, and it's a disaster. There was File on 4 was doing a very good program on that, and the caring industry, for instance, has been totally. I mean, that's why we got problems in hospitals when I was in the 80s,
what do you expect?
when I was around.
I mean, you expecting them to care?
Well,
the caring industry went the way of everything else that they would have under their wing because they don't care.
Well, this is the problem, and now they're starting on the National Health Service, have been for several years, gradually privatising it and reducing council budgets by 50%. So your rates go through the roof in order to pay for vital services. It's a total disaster, all of them.
Well, they defund the councils and then blame the councils for not being able to afford the things that people actually want. It's a neat trick. And because they can say, oh, well, it's got nothing to do with us. And they, of course, make sure that the Labour councils suffer the most. So it appears to those of slow wit that it's Labour that are at fault, but it's not, because the money comes from central government. And so if they defund Labour councils specifically, then it looks as though the Labour Party can't actually provide for its people. Whereas it's the government that are engineering that. It's, it's a neat trick. Ben, thanks a lot, mate. 0345 6060 973. John says, why not have Theresa May back? She had her flaws, but she's 1,000,000 times better than Boris. Also, have you seen the video of her dancing at the Henley Festival, celebrating the demise of Boris, maybe? Yeah. Have you ever seen anybody that's more elbows than Theresa May? Maybe it's the shoes. You can't walk, and you specifically cannot dance in those comedy clown shoes, Mrs. M. Kick them off, put your feet up, relax, you deserve it. Nathan says, I contacted my MP about the possibility of a snap election and the readiness of voter ID. She replied about the Energy Charter Treaty. I think she got me muddled up with someone else. Pretty sure I read that last night. Maybe he sent it twice. You can only send it once. Fiona text. Nadine Dorris is apparently considering a leadership run. Go Nads. Yeah, I must have read that about 1,000 times today. Everybody congratulating themselves for coming up with that. You didn't. Felix emails. The most entertaining part of this week's events was the hilarious spectacle of Boris Johnson's loyalists doing their best impression of Comical Ali. I'm pretty sure I read this too. My personal favourite, he says, was Peter Bones saying Johnson would lead the Tories into the next election. This was after 30 resignations from the cabinet. I'll get to some new ones eventually, I suppose. Haringey. Hello, Ben. Oh, no, I've just spoken to you. I'll get to some new calls in a minute, I suppose. How about Putney? Oliver.
Hi, Nick.
Oliver.
Evening. Yeah, this is going to be a bit of a diatribe, but I just want to say that Boris Johnson's former boss, Max Hastings, a respected Tory, a respected journalist, for years has been saying that Boris Johnson was unfit to be Prime Minister.
I know. He's been saying,
Warning, warning.
You've all made a bad mistake.
Yeah, and I think one of the things he said was you couldn't trust him with your money and you couldn't trust him with your wife, driving your wife home.
No, I wouldn't trust him taking my dog for a walk.
Okay, so why I'm saying this is that people have been saying this for years. Everyone knew what they were getting with Boris.
Well, no, you say that, but I don't think people did. The people that say, we knew what we were voting for, didn't. They didn't know it about Brexit, and they didn't know it about Johnson. They thought they were voting for that funny, cuddly bloke off the telly, not understanding who he actually is.
Okay, let's leave the general public out of this. Okay, let's just talk about the Tory MPs. They knew what they were getting, yeah? So I think it's a false narrative when they're saying that, it's because he's not, up to standard, when he tells lies. It's got nothing to do with that. It's about the money.
Well, I'll tell you what it's about. It's about they supported him up until the point that he couldn't get away with it anymore. And then they said, he's got nothing to do with me. I didn't like him all along.
As soon as people started paying more money for petrol prices, as soon as you go into the supermarket and the money's up and you can't afford to buy things, that's when people got scared, and that's when they panicked. Right? In 1992 with George Bush, Clinton, the economy's stupid. As soon as the economy started going real south, that's when they bailed out on him. That's the real thing that happened. It had nothing to do with his morals. It had to do with that.
Right. Well, I repeat my position that he stopped being able to get away with it, whatever it may be at any given moment, because that's been his ability his entire life, to just blast through a place like a bull in a china shop, leaving a catastrophic mess behind him, and then doing his act. Paw! All that. Where am I? That stuff. And people go, he's doing his best. And they let him off with it like he's a 5-year-old, like he's just William. And he lost his ability to get away with it, and that's when they turned on him.
No, okay.
You keep saying no. I'm right about this. This is the overarching theme. You're just picking out a small instance.
No, the Tories don't care about his morality. They don't give a damn about that.
You're not listening to me, Oliver. I'm not talking about morality or humanity or any of those things. I'm talking about his ability to get away with it.
Okay. So we have to agree to disagree. Can I make a couple more points, please, Nick?
Okay.
Thanks, Nick. The second point is that the Tories have run out. You said something interesting earlier. You said, what have we done to deserve this? I'll tell you what we've done. We voted Tory government for 40 years.
No, we didn't. No, we didn't. No, we didn't. 46% is what he got last time around. That's 46% of the 70% that could be bothered to go out and vote, which is about a third. About a third of the voters gave them 100% of the power.
Yeah, but how about 1979? And how about 1983? And how about 1987?
Pretty much two-thirds of the time since the Second World War, in fact, over the last 100 years, two-thirds of the time, the Conservative Party have run this country on a minority of the votes. We didn't vote for him. This country didn't vote for him. A minority of the people in this country voted for him and the Conservative Party for about 60-odd% of the time of the last 100 years.
You're right. I can't argue with that point.
All right. Wow, on that rare note of concord, time's up. Thanks, Oliver. 0345 6060 973. You can text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Look at the time. It's 10:30. The news headlines with Simon Conway.
Sajid Javid and Jeremy Hunt have become the latest Tory MPs to declare their candidacies for the party leadership. Both have told The Telegraph they would cancel Rishi Sunak's planned rise in corporation tax and instead cut it to 15%. Earlier, the Transport Secretary Grant Shapps and the new Chancellor Nadhim Zahawi also entered the race. Sri Lanka's President and Prime Minister have agreed to resign over the country's economic and political crisis. Earlier, protesters stormed both officials' homes and set fire to one of the buildings. A woman has been stabbed at a Tesco supermarket in Glasgow. She was taken to hospital following the attack this lunchtime. Her condition is unknown. A man has been arrested. LBC weather, a warm evening for much of England and Wales. Cloudier across Northern Ireland and Scotland with some rain. An overnight low of 10 Celsius. Tomorrow, rain in the far north, clearing, then mostly dry, sunny and very warm elsewhere. A high of 29 degrees.
This is LBC.
Hello, Britain. Albert Einstein here. To those of you who have got a smart meter, I applaud you. You are helping to modernize Britain's outdated energy system, helping us use more renewable energy. The downside of doing this message on radio is that you can't see that I'm proudly toasting you with a cup of Earl Grey. But the upside is, you can't see that I'm still in my dressing gown. Cheers.
Search Get a Smart Meter today. Consumer action required. Eligibility may vary.
In the UK, 1.4 million households use 100% renewable electricity from Shell.
And that's just the beginning. Shell experts are working on a wind project that could power 6 million homes.
And because 1 in 5 new cars in the UK plug in,
Shell aims to have 100,000 public charge points nationwide by the end of the decade.
The UK is ready for cleaner energy. To be part of the change, search Shell. Shell Energy's renewable electricity is supplied by the National Grid and certified by Regos. Visit shellenergy.co.uk for details. Electric vehicle data source by SMMT.
Today's tale begins the night the internet went down at the Smith family. Son, the dad watched on powerless as his son aged before his eyes.
The game has been loading forever.
Save yourself from broadband nightmares. Get BT's unbreakable hybrid broadband backed up by EE, the UK's best network. Search BT Hybrid Broadband. 88% UK availability. 4G connection takes up to 175 seconds. Best for mobile network performance. Verify at ee.co.uk/claims.
First up in today's tour, a modern masterpiece. The new Italian stack from McDonald's. A carefully crafted burger made with 2 delicious beef patties, mozzarella and a splash of rich tomato sauce. An edible work of art. And over here in the collection, the exquisite crispy chicken Italiano. Delectable crispy chicken breast paired beautifully with a basil pesto-style sauce. Perfection.
Holiday from home with the McDonald's summer menu. Available until the 26th of July. From 11 a.m, participating restaurants subject to availability.
Leading Britain's conversation. LBC with Nick Abbot.
Well, the whole world's gone crazy.
I mean, they're saying the quiet part out loud now. They just don't care. Sajid Javid and Jeremy Hunt. I think I got those names from I was busy doing something else during the course of the news, but I think those were the names that came up. They've thrown their hat into the ring and promised that they're going to cut corporation tax. Not your taxes, corporation tax. Which I think seems to, for me, sum up the reason why we've left the European Union, why they persuaded us that it would be a good idea for us if we left the EU, but it wasn't for us. It was so that the super rich can pay less in tax, so that they have more of an ability to avoid paying tax. So they're going to cut the corporation tax to 15%, did they say? Wow. That seems unusually generous, doesn't it? Unusually generous to the donor class. I wonder why. And the usual bleating remarks on this subject is that, we can't make the rich or corporations pay tax because they'll leave. Really? Where are they going to go? Germany, France, Austria, Belgium, the Netherlands, Spain. Luxembourg, Greece, Italy, Turkey. Where? Where are they going to go? Because all of those places will pay more in corporation tax than we do. Norway, Denmark, Portugal. Where? Where are they going to go? Because all of those places will pay more in corporation tax. Maybe they could go to Latvia or Iceland or Finland perhaps, or Poland or Slovenia or Belarus or Croatia, Ukraine, Romania, Albania, Lithuania, Serbia or Switzerland, because all those places would pay more in corporation tax. Where are you going to go? Hungary, perhaps? Any company want to relocate to Hungary?
No.
No, I didn't think so. Or Macedonia, Kosovo. I hear that Kosovo is lovely at this time of the year. When they tell you who they are, believe them the first time. Let's have Walthamstow. Hello, Hector.
Yes, evening, Nick.
Hector. Is that actually your name? Hector?
Yes, sir.
I don't think I've ever talked to a Hector before.
The first time of everything.
Yeah.
Nick, just a quick one. Fishy Wishy.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be Britain's first BAME Prime Minister, possibly by default. No one's having the debate about all of these people that are running for the candidacy of Prime Minister.
Yeah.
There's a hell of a lot out there of BAME candidates.
Yes.
Now, ordinarily in an election, the general election, the people would be asked to vote for people, and would they vote for a BAME like Obama, Obama sort of thing for England? Do you think it would happen?
Well, if it happened in America, then it's more likely to happen here, because we are less sort of divided along racial lines than America is.
But the only thing is, Nick, is if I was voting for a Prime Minister, if you look at the whole of Europe, they predominantly vote their own countrymen into office, correct? I would expect the same here. And I think...
Well, that only happens because there's more of them. I mean, you know,
right.
if 98% of a country is white, then it's more likely that they will have a white premier because there's just more white people to pick from.
But all I can say to you, Nick, is I don't think this particular debate is being had. It's not being in the papers. It's a high possibility we will have a BAME Prime Minister by default. America is about to get its first black lady Prime Minister when Sleepy Joe slopes off sick or retires.
Right, who do you think it's going to be?
What I mean, Kamala Harris gets the gift, Nick. You know how it works?
No, she won't.
What if he goes ill between now and...
ill? Oh, right, I thought you were talking about the next election. It's not going to be Kamala Harris. No way, Hector. All right, thanks a lot, mate. But it is interesting that that's what's happening. There are so many non-white competitors in that list, which is curious for a party that you wouldn't really associate with them, because the Conservatives are to my mind, they're epitomised by the boar propping up the bar at the golf club. Not a racist bone in his body. 0345 6060 973. Jason says, isn't the job of a caretaker to take care of things? Bodger hasn't ever taken proper care of anything, has he? No, including himself. Ain't that right, Bodge?
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Gary says, with Johnson reluctant to leave number 10, there's interesting news from Sri Lanka, where they have stormed the Prime Minister's house and set it on fire. Watch out, Boris. I thought they stormed his swimming pool. I didn't know they'd actually set fire to it. Have they set fire to his swimming pool? Because that would be alarming. Yorkshire. Hello, Mike.
Hi, Nick. How are you?
All right.
Yeah, jumped to the main point, but you were talking about Fishy's video.
Yes.
And everyone's saying it's slick, but what it reminded me of is, do you remember when commercial radio first came in? You got adverts like, get your hair cut at my Auntie Jones, 50 Bridge Street. She's got them funny things that she sticks on your head. She's great. And that's what commercial radio adverts were like when it first came out. And this isn't slick, it's trashy. It's really trashy. I don't know what you think.
Well, I thought he looked uncomfortable, but to me he always looks uncomfortable. You could see his eyes reading the script, like going back and forth, like left and right as he was reading the script. They're probably up on boards or on the auto cue, which is a poor performance on his part. It was toe-curlingly embarrassing, pretty much everything he said. He seemed to be distancing himself from himself, as though he had nothing to do with the last 2 years in specifically, and the last 12 years in general, as though he is a brand new person in our lives and he had never previously heard of the Conservative Party. I don't know if he thinks he's kidding, but it's not me, and it's probably not you either.
It looks like, what am I supposed to say? How are we supposed to present this? Not heartfelt or the man coming across. It was like constructed from the Meccano that this is the right thing to do, that's the right, we've got to build this in. It was, to me, it was amateur. But anyway,
I wonder how long they discussed whether he should wear a tie or not, or whether he should do it in a hoodie. So we'll go with semi-serious, but not so serious that it puts people off.
Something like that. But getting on to Johnson, what nobody's picked up on Johnson's not resignation speech, because he didn't. No one's picked up on the fact he said, our wonderful Darwinian system, which you listen to people when they talk to you, because that implies survival of the fittest. The lucky rich ones survive, the poor unlucky ones perish. What an awful thing to say in this society. We don't believe in Darwinism. We believe in supporting everybody.
We? Who's we?
Well, the population.
Well, the population might, but the population keeps voting for the party that doesn't.
But the irony of it is, he's going on about survival of the fittest on the day he's got chucked out.
Well, he would be fitter if he jogged further than the distance between his car and his hotel.
Absolutely. And the other thing, can I just have one quick one?
Go on, then.
They're talking about this Conservative election for a new leader. If they call this an election, this is completely deluding the population. This isn't an election. It's a 5 or 6 part process where they present their chosen 2 people to the Conservative members. Now, what they will do is construct a situation where the 2 that go, one's a stalking horse and one is their chosen winner. This isn't in any way an election. If they all had to vote once, the top 2 went to the Conservative membership, yes, that's an election. But they can't, they finagle this round like they got rid of Rory Stewart last time to set the system up. It's not an election, Nick. It's simply them constructing the 2 that they want, one of which will be acceptable and one of which won't. They know what they're doing. This is not an election, Nick. It is not democracy. It's
finagling. They're fiddling about.
Disgusting.
There was an interesting poll that came out. Thanks for that, Mike. 0345 6060 973. A YouGov poll. Who would be the best replacement? The Conservative Party members said Ben Wallace was the number 1 choice. And the public said, who? Ben Wallace. Who? Yes, Ben Wallace, the number 1 choice with 13% of the vote. This is Conservative Party members. Who would be the best replacement for his imperial bodgeness?
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Ben Wallace, number 1. Penny Mordaunt, number 2. Fishy Sunak, number 3. Poor Fishy. Liz Truss. Number 4. Michael Gove, number 5. Angular Tetchy Humanoid, Dominic Deckchair Raab, number 6. Tom Tugendhat, who's thrown his Tugendhat in the ring. Then Jeremy Hunt. Then Nadim Zahawi. What do you think about that, Nads?
So obviously then...
then Sajid Javid. Then Priti Patel. Second from last. And then Steve Barclay. As in, who's Steve Barclay? So that's the list from the Conservative Party members who would be the best replacement. And then, just for giggles, they asked the British public in general who would be the best replacement. And they gave them the list. Ben Wallace, Penny Mordaunt, Rishi Sunak, Liz Truss, Michael Gove, Dominic Raab, Tom Tugendhat, Jeremy Hunt, Nadim Zahawi, Sajid Javid, Priti Patel and Steve Barclay. They asked the British public who would be the best replacement. And the number 1 choice of the British public was none of the above. None of the above. was the number one choice. Second choice? Don't know. None of these people got above 4%. So, best luck at the next general election. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
LBC. Nick Ferrari at breakfast.
Foreign Secretary Liz Truss, you mentioned learning lessons, saying we need to learn the lesson for Taiwan. Every piece of equipment we've sent take months of training. The sooner we do it, the better. It is government policy, then, to send troops or personnel to Taiwan?
We could have done more to deter Putin from invading, and that is a similar approach to the approach we need to take for Taiwan,
including sending weaponry.
Well, the defence that Taiwan need is already being provided.
Nick Ferrari at breakfast, weekday mornings from 7. Listen on your radio and on Global Player. LBC.
Fever Tree Rhubarb and Raspberry Tonic Water. Made with sweet hand-picked English rhubarb, balanced with juicy raspberries that grow in the Scottish valleys. So, if 3/4 of your G&T is a Fever Tree tonic, I'd be tempted to call it a T&G. Fever Tree Rhubarb and Raspberry Tonic Water. Mix with the best. Delicious.
Hula Hoops Puffed. Sense its lightness, its puffiness. Unleash the delicious taste of Hula-licious. Hula-lightful.
Hula Hoops Puffed. Light puffy hoops in a range of delicious flavours and 72 calories per pack. Hula-licious. Hula-lightful.
Collect a double welcome bonus of 50,000 Avios with the new Barclaycard Avios Plus credit card when you spend £3,000 in your first 3 months.
Cappuccino.
That could whisk you from everyday to getaway. Our 50,000 Avios offer ends 18th July 2022. Check your eligibility now. Search Barclaycard Avios Plus. Representative example, 72.4% APR representative variable. Purchase rate per annum 23.9% variable. Based on a credit limit of £1,200. £20 monthly fee. Subject to application and financial status. Eligibility and conditions apply. Double welcome bonus for new customers only. Usually 25,000 Avios.
Not every all-electric SUV comes with permanent all-wheel drive as standard. But then, not every all-electric SUV is a Subaru. Introducing the Subaru Solterra, our very first fully electric vehicle. All-wheel drive, instant torque, fast charging, and a range of nearly 300 miles. Book a test drive now at subaru.co.uk. Power your adventures in the Subaru Solterra. Range based on test conditions and may vary.
Leading Britain's conversation. LBC with Nick Abbott.
Anybody care what this guy thinks?
No! Leon texts, last night when you described Fishy Sunak, it reminded me of the character Christian Bale played when he starred in American Psycho. Really? Didn't remind me of that. Tom texts, if you don't accept and start believing in Brexit, the democratic will of the people, I'll get my dad to do his dreadful Elvis impression down the phone at you. I'm really tired of hearing that it's the democratic will of the people, because it wasn't. The people were lied to about what it was that they were voting for, so it's not actually the will of the people. The will of the people was that it would be as advertised, but it wasn't. So they were lied to. Here's what happened. We had two boxes, Box A and Box B. Now, the people that were inviting us to choose between Box A and Box B did not let us look in the box. They just told us what was in the box. And Box A was what you've got now. Box B was, it was so much better. Which box would you like? And people thought, well, I'll have Box B. I want better. And the trick was that better was not in Box B. Box B was a dead dog, covered in flies. But because you had voted for Box B, that's what you get forever. And they call it the will of the people. I'd be offended if I'd voted for Box B. Never mind. 0345 6060 973. Dewsbury. Hello, Abigail.
Hello. Before I make my main point, I just wanted to tell you that Ben Wallace has ruled himself out today on Twitter. He said he doesn't want to do leadership.
Well, I am distraught.
I'm not bothered, but I don't vote Tories, but I just wanted you to know that. So
thanks, Abigail.
That's narrowing it down, isn't it?
Yeah, a little bit.
But I need to tell you this really important thing. It's really funny. Chris Bryant, who is the Labour MP, he's retweeted, and I've heard and I've seen this by a few journalists now, that there's rumour that on Monday, Boris is literally going to step down and then say he's going to run for the leadership campaign because he believes that the members are going to vote him back in again. Now, there could be something in that because today on Twitter, reinstate Boris was trending, and I think about over 6,000 retweets at that point.
Right.
But can you fancy that though? Because really look about it. It said in this journalist said he never actually said he was resigning, did he?
Nope.
And he's never gone to the Queen. He's not gone to the Queen or done anything like that, has he yet?
Nope.
Right.
Nope.
Now think about that. Can you imagine? He now steps down. Right, he then launches a leadership bid and gets the members, because what I'm hearing on LBC, which I was very distraught about, was people ringing up literally saying, we want him back, we think he's great. I'm sorry, I'm really sorry, but I said we've now got a pound shop Trump, right? But the point is, I honestly believe we've now become America, and I swear down, it's now, I cannot look at these people and go, where are you coming from? How can you even look at this guy who the other day on that select committee with the KGB, how can you even say that guy's even nice or credible or even decent? Do you know what David Lammy today on the radio said one thing very good? You know what he said? He said, when you're looking at a Prime Minister, would you trust them to babysit your child, Starmer or Boris, right? And you know what, right? He's right, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't have Boris anywhere near my dog, never mind a child,
That's right. Yeah,
you know what I mean?
If you let him into your house, you'd have to hide all of your knickknacks.
Yeah, exactly. But so what I don't get is the same people that we live amongst, who are literally ringing the radio show, okay? This guy's been corrupt, he's lied. Apparently it's all mainstream media's fault. They're even parroting Trump supporter stuff. Have you seen Twitter? Have you seen what's going down? They are literally parroting, word for word, right? Because that's why. Do you remember when he did his statement the other day when he said that party, as in the Conservatives, have got to be, that is a dog whistle to his little fans, just like Trump was, and now they're parroting it. I'm seeing it on Twitter. It's a big thing.
Well, I'm sure that some of them are real people and some of them are bots.
Correct.
Actual robots.
Affirmative.
Yeah, I'm sure they are.
Possibly so, but I tell you what, though, can you imagine if he tries to do
I can imagine
what is
it.
the rules?
Well, there are no rules. There are no rules to somebody who does not consider that rules apply to him. That's the thing that has stopped people like Boris Johnson getting away with it in politics, is because what he does is previously not the done thing. But he doesn't care about that any more than Donald Trump cares about that. And so unless it's actually written down that you cannot do the following, which we don't have in this country, then he can do whatever he blooming well likes, because he is Boris Johnson. Abigail, got to go. Thanks for that.
All right, I'll let it go. Bye.
Cheers, Miguel. 0345 6060 973. Parroting it, they were. Yeah, he is a pound shop Trump. Trump himself said that he is Britain Trump, which is such a clunky phrase. It's a clunky phrase for a person that doesn't know words very well.
I know a lot about wind.
Oh, close.
I'm very highly educated. I know words. I have the best words.
One's called I Know Wind and one's called I Know Words. Just screwed that one up. Oh, well, never mind. But the demographic that they both appeal to is the same.
I love the poorly educated.
Yeah, both of them. They love the poorly educated. The poorly educated have made their choice, and regardless of any new information that comes their way, they are going to refuse to change their mind or even contemplate doing such a thing because it would mean too much loss of face. So there's about a third of the population that have joined a cult. They've gone. They're not coming back. Wave them goodbye. It's down to the rest of us to fashion, it's like this country's like an Airfix model now. Anybody remember Airfix models?
No.
Yeah. We're going to have to glue it back together again and then paint it.
Boring.
Do we have to? Yeah, a spokesman for Boris Johnson said reports that he is planning to stand down as Prime Minister on Monday in order to run again for Tory leader are completely untrue. That's what a spokesperson for Boris Johnson said. These reports are completely untrue, which translates as they're completely true. You only know that something is true when they say it's not true. BJ supposedly resigned as leader of the Conservative Party on Thursday without actually saying the word resign, and said that he intends to remain in office until his successor is elected, or forever, whichever is the longest. Claims then emerged that Bodge may be planning to run again, prompting Number 10 to clarify that Johnson will stay out of the leadership race. So he doesn't want to have to, do anything as discombobulating as join a race. He just wants to get crowned. Journalist Petronella Wyatt, who had an affair with Boris Johnson.
Disgusting.
When they both worked at The Spectator magazine, was among those who said that the PM may attempt to stay in Downing Street, and she knows him inside out. She said, a source at Number 10 tells me that Bodge intends to stand down as Prime Minister on Monday in order to run for the Tory leadership. Well, I mean, look at the options that they've got. I bet enough of the Tory party members would think, oh, fishy Sunak, really? I mean, have you ever seen any more? Oh, that line from Keir Starmer, Sir Keir, this week, that made me honk. Laugh out loud. Normally he's not a funny bloke. I mean, people will write lines for him. He doesn't come up with this stuff himself, I'm sure. And so he'll get funny people to write these lines for him. And, it's all about the delivery. Your material doesn't have to be funny. It's if you can present it as funny, that's what brings the laughs. Which is why Bodge gets laughs for his whole shtick, the paw, all of that. Doesn't actually have to be funny, just looks funny. Like Tommy Cooper used to walk on stage and go, ugh, and the audience would be in hysterics already. Didn't even have to say anything. But if you write that down, it's not funny. But he did deliver the most perfect line. Sir Keir. That's going to hamper him forever, having that Sir appended to his name. It's not helping at all. You got dummies who think that he is posher than Boris de Pfeffel Johnson just because he's got a Sir in front of his name. But Sir Keir peered at the front bench opposite over the dispatch box and said, look at them, the charge of the lightweight brigade. Good one, Keir. Finally, you made it. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's at LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbot, LBC. I should remind you that these shows do get stuck up the internet as a podcast almost the moment they're finished. We take the news and the ads out, which means it takes less time to listen to. You'll use less electricity, and by that method, save the planet. You're welcome. Ask for it by name on an internet near you. Nick Abbott, The Whole Show. It's on Global Player, which you should have in your life. Find it at your app store. And the name of that thing again, Nick Abbott, The Whole Show. Just do an internet search on my name, Nick Abbott Podcasts, and all three will become apparent as though by magic.
On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC.
leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC.
From Global's newsroom at 11 o'clock, the race to be the next Conservative leader and Prime Minister has widened, with two more candidates entering the race. Sajid Javid, who triggered a wave of resignations when he stepped down as Health Secretary this week, says he is standing, as is Jeremy Hunt, who lost out to Boris Johnson in 2019. Both men have told The Telegraph they would cut corporation tax to 15%. Earlier, former Tory Chief Whip Mark Harper told LBC why he's backing former Chancellor Rishi Sunak.
I feel, given the challenges facing the country, it's important to have somebody who's got that current experience and somebody who I think has already built a team of people, the people that he had working for him when he was in the Treasury. And I like what I see in Rishi Sunak.
Transport Secretary Grant Shapps and Mr Sunak's successor Nadhim Zahawi have also thrown their hats into the ring, and the Foreign Secretary Liz Truss is expected to follow suit. Sri Lanka's President and Prime Minister have agreed to resign over the country's economic and political crisis. Earlier, protesters stormed both officials' homes and set fire to one of the buildings. The nation is seeing severe shortages of essential items, leaving people struggling to buy food, fuel and other necessities. Japanese police have admitted security flaws after former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe was assassinated. He died after being shot twice from behind while giving a speech in the city of Nara on Friday. A senior officer says he feels a grave sense of responsibility. A heatwave for parts of the UK is set to continue tomorrow and into next week. Temperatures in London and the southeast could reach 29 Celsius on Sunday and reach 32 by Tuesday. Elena Rybakina says her Wimbledon triumph was completely unexpected. She beat Ons Jabeur of Tunisia in the women's singles final earlier. LBC's David Dom was watching on centre court.
Elena Rybakina is the first player representing Kazakhstan to win a major singles tennis title. She recovered from a set down against Ons Jabeur and is the youngest champion here since Petra Kvitova 11 years ago. The 17th seed at these championships was born in Moscow but changed allegiance in 2018 to receive more funding.
Scotland's rugby union team have levelled their three-match test series against Argentina with a commanding 29-6 victory in Salta. Hamish Watson, Mark Bennett, Matt Fagerson and Sam Johnson all scored tries. LBC weather staying dry overnight for England and Wales. Cloudier across Northern Ireland and Scotland with some rain, a low of 10 Celsius. Tomorrow, rain in the far north clearing, then mostly dry, sunny and very warm elsewhere, a high of 29 degrees. From Global's newsroom for LBC, I'm Simon Conway.
This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbott.
Hi, honey. How are you? Here we go. Okay.
0345 6060 973. Barry texts, Nadine should sell the NHS to Netflix. Maybe a subscription model where you have to watch adverts every 15 minutes during your operations. Yeah, they dig you awake. Have you been in an accident lately? That kind of thing. Stoke. Hello, Richard.
Oh, hello, Nick. It's Richard from Stoke.
Yeah, I know that.
Can you hear me? Oh, sorry. Yes, you've announced that.
Introduced
sorry. There's so much to say. Things have moved on since I phoned in. But was I right in thinking that you invited people to suggest slogans for the candidates?
Well, I did say that it might be best if you text them so I can pre-read them for my convenience.
For some reason, the texty thing doesn't seem to work for me.
Right.
So I had to phone in. I spoke to your producer.
User error, I expect.
User error. Well, I thought you'd say that. I don't know why I thought you'd say that, but very quickly, the producer put me through before I could say, hang on a minute, I just wanted to suggest a slogan for the candidates.
Right.
But here I am live.
It sounds like Nick. You. Yeah, go ahead.
Absolutely. What it is, first of all, let's get this out of the way. I think you should throw your hat in.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'd vote for you straight away.
Right.
I
haven't got a hat, Richard, but apart from that, no.
Right. I could get you a hat.
But then it would be your hat that gets thrown in the ring.
It would. But
you might end up as Prime Minister by accident.
What I'm concerned about is that by inviting people to come up with slogans, isn't that inviting people to come in with material? I'm all confused.
I suppose so, but that's one of the reasons that I wanted it to be tech. This is an exception. Only this one time.
Okay, this one time. Use the material.
Yeah.
Coming in. Okay. What about this? See if you can guess who this is for. Trust no one.
Yeah.
Okay. Try this one then. Throw yourself under the truss.
Okay.
Okay. Forget that one then. Third one.
I like that one.
You like that? Throw yourself under
the truss.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll rate them. We'll rank them rather. How about a lot of truss about nothing?
Are they all about Liz Truss?
Well, there's
How many are there?
There's two more.
Two more.
Here we go.
Right.
Yeah. Here we go. This is the James Bond one. Trussy galore, obviously. And getting away from the truss bit, I've got cheesy grin because of the cheese reference when she did that cheesy.
Oh yeah. This is a disgrace. Well done, Nick. It's absolutely disgrace. That's where her priorities are. Cheese. I'm going to go and re-listen to the interview that Liz Truss did with our leader Nick Ferrari, because that was a hoot and a half.
Oh dear, I missed that. Is that on listen back?
I expect it will be.
I'll have to listen back. Do you know when it was?
Not off the top of my head, no.
Oh, Nick, you're letting me down. Anyway, cheesy grin with nothing in.
Right.
So there they are. I think we should rank those 1 to 5. But that's Liz Truss over with. So if you're not going to put your hat in, because you haven't got a hat, I'm going to go for the tall guy, the thin guy who ran for it last time. He used to be the health minister. I can't remember his name. It's gone.
Hancock?
No, God, no. Before Hancock, he became the big cheese to investigations. He was the chair.
The big cheese with investigations. He was the chair.
Yes, he grilled Dominic Cummings. Do you remember the Dominic Cummings grilling? Oh, for goodness sake! My mind's gone.
Yeah, well, mine too. It's an impediment.
You must remember.
It's an impediment to doing a proper show.
Today,
but here we are.
He put his hat in today.
He put his hat in today. Jeremy Hunt.
Yes, thank you so much.
Right.
Oh,
no, thank you. I appreciate it, Richard.
Thank you.
And it looks like our time is up. But thanks a lot. 0345. But thanks a lot for whatever that was. Throw yourself under the truss. I like that. That's a good one. Phil emails, I don't care about a leader from the same rotten bunch. I want to hear Starmer talk about taking back control. That is of gas, electric, water, railways, and the full NHS, says Phil. Yeah, just tell us something we want to hear, Sir Keir. Middlesbrough. Hello, Terry.
Hi, Nick.
Terry.
I was. I wanted to get my facts straight, so I've watched again the fishy green card Sunak video.
Yeah.
And he said that he ran the toughest department during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And I just wonder. I think we should get the people in the NHS to clap for the people in the Treasury.
Mm-hmm. Quite
Do you
right.
not think?
Yes. These are the real people who have suffered during the course of this pandemic. Not the ones that were holding the hands of people that were dying. It's the ones that were holding money in their hands, is it, to slip through and into the pockets of donors in a lot of cases. Curious.
I mean, honestly, I really do hope that fishy green card Sunak wins, because I think that Sir Keir will be able to beat him. Because he's just one down from Bodge, isn't he? I mean, he got a penalty notice, and his excuse is he was turning up for a meeting.
Yes.
And he didn't realise it was a birthday party.
Right, he was.
Why did he not? Why did he not contest it then?
He was ambushed by a business meeting. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, he could have contested that, couldn't he?
I want Liz Truss to do it. I mean, based on her performance on the Nick Ferrari show, I think that Liz Truss would be an excellent addition to the glittering panoply of people that have run this country. Or maybe Nadeem Zahawi could explain his policies to us.
So obviously, but I know certainly.
But unfortunately, we don't have the time.
Did you ever see that time when Liz Truss went into the House of Commons and everybody had taken up all the slots on the front bench, and she sat on Sajid Javid's knee?
No, I did not see that, and neither would I want to. Well,
it's hilarious. I don't know what. There must have been some needle or something, and nobody would make a space for her. And so what she decided to do was plonk herself down on Sajid Javid.
Yeah. Well, who wouldn't?
Maybe that's where your last contributor got the throw yourself under the truss.
Yeah, maybe.
Because that's what happened to Sajid.
Right. She could plump him up like a cushion. All right. Good work. Thanks a lot, Terry. 0345 6060 973. Trevor texts, I have been listening to you berating two great men for the past few years on your show. I secretly believe that you actually love them because they are box office and are great characters. Now, what do we have? Boring Sleepy Joe, soon to be followed by Boring Sunak, sending everybody to sleep, says Trevor. Well, that's a good point. I think that Priti Patel would do a good job. Hands up who wants Priti Patel? So that's a no. Liz Truss would be comic gold. Who else? Well, of course, there's Nads. Why not? I mean, just, let's throw the dice, see what happens. Who's with me? I mean, it's not like this is real life or anything. Let's have Woburn. Colin.
Oh, hello.
Colin.
Hi, Nick. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Ask me a question.
What time is it?
Sorry, say again?
I'm sorry, that's the wrong answer. But better luck next time. 0345 6060 973. What was that? Ask me a question. Roger texts, seeing that there is little difference between the candidates, why not throw their names in a hat and literally pick one at random? Yeah, why not? We could just throw, let's put Ant and Dec in there as well. I mean, what could possibly go wrong? Martin says, I heard that Nads was considering putting her hat into the ring. Her pitch would be to leave my Boris alone. If appointed, Bodge would be Chancellor, leading to a spike in the price of wallpaper and further inflationary pressures. Speaking of which, I didn't speak about this yesterday. Two uses of the word speak in the same sentence. Big mistake, huge. But wallpaper gate. Wow, the details. The details and the excruciating photos of the hideous mess that they paid for. I'll get into that in a minute. So much stuff to get through. It blows my tiny mind. Southwark. Hello, Vince.
Oh, good evening, your Abbotness.
Vince.
It's nice to talk to you. I had to phone up because you've been talking about Sunak, right? I mean, the man freaks me out, I've got to be honest about it. Disgusts me, etc.
He disgusts you?
Primarily.
That seems a bit strong.
Well, have you seen a video?
Have I seen what?
I mean, the video.
Oh, the video. Yes, I have. Yes. You are quite right. Disgusting.
Honestly, I'm an ex-musician, and I know how long it takes to do a video. And that was not overnight. That was storyboarded at least a week ago, probably 2 weeks ago. So he's been thinking about this for a while. This is one of the reasons he discussed me. But the other reason I'm saying is, if you watch PMQs, I don't know if you do, but if you watch PMQs, everybody on the left of the Prime Minister and on the right of the Prime Minister all act like those little nodding dogs that you used to get in the back of cars. Do you remember those? You mentioned it.
Yes, I do.
You know that sort of noddy doggy thing?
Yeah. Why did people used to have that? I mean, what was the point of a nodding dog in the back window of your car? Why?
I can't answer that because I've still got mine.
Have you?
Yeah.
Is it a sausage dog?
No,
right.
It's a terrier type.
A terrier, right? Okay, that's better. Yeah.
That's the reason. But they all do that, right? And Sunak sits there with this smirky grin on his face, nodding to everything.
And then they start bellowing.
Well, then the other side gets up, the opposition, and then they all go horizontal. Like, they all start shaking the way nodding dogs don't do, that sort of side-to-side thing.
Shaking their heads.
And bellowing, and, etc. And I genuinely think every one of those names that you said earlier are complicit in keeping that, and I'm going to say the word Muppet, that Muppet in power for the last 3.5 years.
Of course they are. Time and time again, they came out on television to defend the indefensible. They repeated his lies over and over and over again. And now they are claiming to have nothing to do with everything that we've just been through, which is another lie. They're lying about their lies, which is bodge up and down. I know. Keep in mind, every time they try to position themselves as having nothing to do with the previous administration, just remember that they were the previous administration. Vince, gotta go. Thanks for that. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
LBC.
Pizza.
Food's here.
Oh, great. I'm starving. Right, you lot, come on in. One at a time. That's it. Pile the pieces over there. Careful, Shaz, don't drop them.
Stop.
You next, they'll stack them up.
Stop.
That's it. Pile those pieces.
Stop! What's all this?
The pieces you rang for. Where's the rest of you?
What do you mean?
You said bring enough for 200 people.
Hungry. I said 2 hungry people.
Oh.
Need a hearing test? Should have gone to Specsavers. Book online today.
Where do you want the garlic bread?
Hey, Harry. Hello, mate. Should I back the underdog or risk a few extra quid on the favourite?
Listen, everyone knows that I like a bet, but if there's one thing I've learned over the years, it's this. No matter what the amount, no matter whether you're backing a player or buying a racehorse, your best bet is never to spend more than you can afford. That's why BetVictor's new affordability measures are specially designed to help you avoid ever spending beyond your means.
Listen to Harry and please gamble responsibly. 18 plus, be gamble aware.
Fever Tree Mediterranean Tonic Water. Made with zesty lemon thyme from a small family farm in Provence and essential oils from herbs that grow in the Mediterranean sunshine. So, if 3/4 of your G&T is a Fever Tree tonic, maybe it's time to call it a T&G. Fever Tree. Mix with the best. Ooh, that takes me straight to the med.
The path to war begins with one false step. Introducing Never, the electrifying new novel from #1 best-selling author Ken Follett. A vast, merciless desert, a stolen US Army drone, a world on the edge of chaos. Our fate lies in the hands of just 3 powerful people. Totally gripping, terrifyingly real. Never by Ken Follett. Available in paperback. Read it now.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott.
Well, let's get back to it.
0345 6060 973. Tom texts, having carefully studied all of the runners and riders for the Tory chief clown, I can officially confirm that they are a coalition of chaos. the biggest bunch of donkeys I've ever seen, and as for Fish's video, utter bilge. And during the course of that break, I looked up the word bilge on the World Wide Wait, and the definition is the area on the outer surface of a ship's hull where the bottom curves to meet the vertical sides. But that's probably not what he meant. He probably meant one of the other definitions. Yeah, it was excruciating toe-curling stuff. But the thing that came across the most to me, having watched Fish's video, is how very much he's pleased with himself. He is in a loving relationship with that gorgeous hunk in the mirror. Edward emails, if this parade of Tory charlatans were on the Titanic, they would have made sure that they got into the lifeboats while denying that they saw the queue of women and children behind them. This is getting very boat-related. Let's have New Malden, Ahmed.
Greetings, Nick.
Yes, sir.
Yes, it's just unbelievable. Boris Johnson showing total contempt, true to form, and, it's just unbelievable. And now the circus for 10 Downing Street continues. Third, fourth, fifth tier individuals putting their name forward, all Tom, Dick and Harrys and Sheilas. What's going on?
It's a pretty good show. I think it's the best show that's on TV at the moment.
Well, yes, but if it'd be very funny and amusing if it wasn't happening to us, it would be funny and amusing. Yeah, that's right. Well, the thing is, everyone's saying about what's his name, Rishi Sunak.
Mm-hmm.
He's only became a chancellor by default because Sajid Javid. He said, because Dominic Cummings and Boris Johnson told him to get rid of his team. He said nothing. I'm doing nothing like that, and of course he had to leave. He just said, I'm not going to get rid of my team, and by default, Rishi Sunak became a chancellor.
Right.
And it seems these days all the government, all the misfits have been running the country for the last 2.5 years.
Yeah, the lunatics have taken over the asylum. Yeah, I think you're quite right about that. Fishy is only, or was only, the Chancellor by dint of Sajid Javid not agreeing to being his department, the Chancellery, not being run by directly Number 10, which is very unusual. He was basically going to take all the power off him, which is odd because Fishy Sunak has spent the last year at least fighting with Number 10 about tax cuts and all of the rest of it.
Well, apparently he's against tax cuts anyway.
Well, I wouldn't say that that's true. There's no Tory that's against tax cuts because tax cuts benefit the well-off, and they are all well-off. So,
well, yes, but the latest comment is in the on the sort of public domain is that he's against tax cuts. But I mean, Tories are always in favour of tax cuts, but I think the situation does not warrant that. And in any case, the thing is that in my humble opinion, if that is worth anything, I think the only credible candidates are Sajid Javid and Jeremy Hunt, I believe. We have all seen them, the way they come across. They won't even get a job in Tesco, I think, some of them.
Yeah, and there's a help wanted sign in the window and they still wouldn't get a job. All right, thanks a lot, Ahmed. 0345 6060 973. I mean, there's very few that don't have the stench of the regime clinging to them. And Jeremy Hunt's one of them, I suppose. And it would be him or someone like him that I bet the Labour Party would be most concerned about, because they would present themselves as being reasonable human beings and not nodding androids.
Affirmative.
Which so many of them are. All speaking as with one brain. So, for the benefit of the Conservative Party, they should choose what I would describe as a clean skin. Someone who doesn't have, a history of debasing themselves in front of his bodgeness.
Yeah. Where
Somebody who was out of the game for a while because probably Bodge fired them. So that would be Jeremy Hunt. Now let's see where he is in the polls. Let's see. Oh, way down. 5% of Conservative Party members think that Jeremy Hunt is an absolute dream. Liz Truss is number 4. Explain that to me in words of one syllable that I'd be able to understand. I mean, it would be worth having Liz Truss as the PM just to see what would happen for a brief period of time until the next general election. I mean, she could turn this country into a smoking ruin. Is it worth the gamble? I don't know. Just for amusement's sake? 0345 6060 973. Exeter. Hello, John.
Oh, hello. Is this 0345 6060 974?
No. I'll put you on hold. You've dialed the wrong number. Pimlico. Hello, Alex.
Oh, hi, Nick. I just can't say I'm so happy. Finally, this clown has been resigned.
Right, he hasn't, though.
No, I think he resigned, finally. I think it's just because the problem is his fans still keep saying is Brexit done, and it's nothing done. It's everything price go up, and there are too many flights already cancelled. You can't go holiday because of lack of staff.
Yes, which is in part to do with Brexit, yes. I mean, it's in part to do with COVID and all the rest of it, but Brexit's not helping any of the things that the rest of the world is suffering from, that we are suffering from more than they are because of Brexit.
Yes, but they have no clue what they're talking about. For me, I'm so pleased. Finally, we have got some good news after COVID. It means if I was have a newspaper say, finally, clown has been resigned. And then he should be opening his own circus, to be honest. I'm happy to buy a ticket, go his own circus.
Right.
Boris Circus.
All right, well, I'll see you at the box office. Thanks a lot, Alex. 0345 6060 973. This story that... because he's been very, very quiet, hasn't he? Where is he? Where are you, Bodge? We're getting worried about you. Don't do it. It ain't worth it. He isn't finished with us. I said this yesterday. It's like the part in a horror film right at the end where all of the major characters think that they've killed the monster, but the monster's not dead because there's another 15 minutes of film left to run. It's coming back. He's going to have to come back in some way, shape or form because... leaving under a cloud like this is not good for the brand. And the brand is all about making money. There's going to be precious few people who are queuing around the block to bury him up to his eyeballs in cash in order for him to give them a speech or write a column or a book or all of the other things that he does. See, if he left on a cloud of glory, then his future would be secure and he'd be making more money than even he could spend on stupidly expensive cushions and throws. But because he goes like this, well, suddenly the ability to make cash is disappearing before his very eyes. So he's not over yet. This isn't done. He can't leave like this because he's got nothing else to lose. So he's going to have to try again. So it's like the end of it's like the end of a film that hasn't ended satisfactorily because they're setting us up for the sequel. It's not over yet. Can't be. This Petronella Wyatt, interesting article in the Times. Maybe I'll read that in a bit, or bits of it. I do not believe, knowing Boris Johnson as I do, that he quite realises he has resigned and that his personal fat lady has sung, says Petronella Wyatt, who used to walk out with Boris.
Disgusting.
Yeah, so I'll come to that in a minute because there's just so much stuff. I haven't talked about Wallpapergate yet. We've seen what the bills were like. Well, we've seen what the room was like. Have you ever seen anything like it in your life?
Dreadful.
Awful. Why would anybody pay anyone to make a room look like that? 0345 6060 973, text 84850, email nick@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC. It's 11:30, the news headlines with Simon Conway.
Sajid Javid and Jeremy Hunt are the latest to enter the Tory leadership race. The two former health secretaries have both made promises to cut corporation tax if they become Prime Minister. There are now 8 contenders, including the newly appointed Chancellor, Nadhim Zahawi. Sri Lanka's President and Prime Minister have both agreed to resign after protesters stormed their homes.